While I'm waiting parts for the Dolch computer, this is one of the floppy drive that I wish to try to use with it in order to share files from old floppy disk to newer media. So let's start to give a look to the unit and see if we can even use it. As you can see, it's quite dirty and very old. So the floppy drive is a Teach. Let me tilt it, and the model is FD-55 GFR. So this is an old 5 1/4 inch floppy. It's quite dirty, but I have to say that it seems not a 9-hour unit. Let me see. Oh, look at that. There are dusty and lint that are coming out from the unit. So look at that. Let me zoom in a lot. Look at that. How dirty is this unit? Okay, this floppy came from an industrial computer. It was a Siemens industrial computer, but it seems that this floppy drive has been used very few times. So I wish to bring back to life. I will give a deep cleaning on the unit and lubrication of the points that are required, and the deep cleaning of the heads, despite seems that no need so much care. Luckily there are many information about this floppy drive on internet, and there is also a very extensive service manual that is over 200 pages. After a quick cleaning with the brush, blowing out all the bigger amount of dust, it's clear that need deeper care and deeper cleaning. So I think that I need to remove the front bezel here. Let's see if I can remove this, pulling it out and tilting. There are 2 screws. So the reason why I'm removing this is because both the bezel itself and the unit, the mechanical parts of the floppy drive, require a very deeper attention, so deeper care. Remove the screws. Let's see if I can slide out. Oh, very simple. So yes, as you can see, the insertion point of the disc right here, it's quite dirty and was not possible to reach it, and the bezel also is quite dirty. So let's go to wash the bezel and the closing lever, and then I will have care of the mechanical parts. This is the front bezel after the cleaning. Good enough for me. Same for the closing lever. I have tried few ways to clean the floppy drive, and the one that I finally choose is to use WD-40 and spray a little bit on the Q-tip. Oh, very strong. It's actually brand new. And I use the Q-tip to clean all the metal parts, because with WD-40 you can clean and meanwhile leave a very thin layer of liquid which protect against the oxidation. So you have both process, cleaning and maintaining, while you protect against future oxidations. At least this is my hope. So I will go ahead with the cleaning of the, let me see if I can show in the camera. There are two rods which are actually the sliding columns for the head. The head was quite hard to go back and forth. Now it's very smooth. So the first step of cleaning already have fixed the problem of the sizing of this sliding head carriage. One thing that I have noted on this unit is something that maybe is of interest. If you look at the metal strip, which is actually the driving spring steel strip, which is exactly this one. What I found around this, let me move the camera a bit, sorry for the movement. Okay, what I found is something that is interesting. Here there was a huge amount of dusty pressed by the movement of the strip during the operation. In fact, if I turn this by hand, as you can see, at a certain point the strip overlay the other part and press what contains inside. And what I believe is that was so huge amount of dusty right here. Maybe you can see, let me see if I can remove the glare. There still is some mark, exactly this mark is a darker area here. What I believe is that the linearity of the tracking of this unit was not so high, because when the strip reach this point, of course will be, let's say, heated more metal because of the spessor, of the thickness of the dusty here. So what's happened, that the head has been pulled more, and has pulled more exactly in the track 0 or at the very beginning of the floppy. So maybe the unit was not really functioning, and this is maybe the reason why the unit has low hour of usage. Or is it just a case, so the unit was functioning perfectly? But however, it's something that make me think on the fact that the unit was lacking in the linearity because of the dust that was pressed here. So let me go ahead with the full cleaning, and let's see if we can connect to something this floppy drive to test. I'm not sure that it will be visible on camera, but looking through the disc bay, it's yeah, maybe now you can see it's fully dirt and dusty, so it's clear that need to be cleaned more in depth. And to achieve that, I need to remove at least this board, which contain the optic sensor for the index hole of the disc, and this metal part, which is the closing mechanism. So let's try to remove all those parts and see if we can reach the disc bay in order to clean it as it needs. So let's see if quick enough to do it on camera, otherwise I will do it off. Okay, so gently I rise up. Actually there are two sensors. There is also, I think, the write protection sensor. So going ahead, let's see. Okay. Yes, as you can see, yeah, and here we have a lot of dust. So let me clean it up and reassemble everything. Look at that. This is what I have removed from the disc bay. So I'm going ahead with the cleaning of the spindle that now have the full access of it onto it, and so let's go ahead. Well, of course, one of the most important places that need to be lubricated in this kind of floppy drives is the stepper motor shaft. There are actually two bearings on each end, one bearing each end of the stepper motor shaft, which time by time the original grease that has been used become dry and dry. So what I usually do is to apply some WD-40 first, so just to let the original grease become not liquid but at least greasy again, and after that few drops of the new oil, but this is not mineral, this is synthetic oil, so to move very free now. As you can see, it's very free to move. I also have applied a slightly lubrication on the sliding rods. I have used a special grease. It's a grease designed to lubricate high-speed spindles for grinder machines, which has the capability to remain with the same characteristics for years and years, so should be good enough. So it's good enough for me, everything. Time to reassemble the front bezel, but before to do that I want to show something more. And this is the front bezel, and what I want to show you is this product. This is car dashes UV light protector. So normally when I do such not restoration but at least cleaning and maintenance, I apply this product after the very good cleaning that has received the front bezel. The plastic remain very dry, so this is a good product to protect against the UV light, but also to give the gummy feeling to the plastic. So the way that I use this is to apply a thin layer everywhere, to spread always the product with the toothbrush or a brush if I can reach all the places, like that, and leave the product to make its job a bit, and after that clean everything with a clean pieces of paper in order to remove the excess of the product. So let me grab it. Maybe we need to wait a little bit more. However, should be enough to show you. Okay, let me go a little bit back. Camera. Sorry for the movement. Okay, this should be enough. So, just removing the excess of the product, since the part of the product go in the small grooves of the plastic surface, so remain a thin layer as a protective layer. So I'll go ahead with the removal of this product and reassembly on the floppy drive. This is the final result. Good enough for me. With a bit of contact cleaner, I also have cleaned the ribbon cable contact over this board. So it's time to do some electrical process here, and I'll show you in a moment what I intend to do. And this is what I have done. I have simply applied an external power supply. What I want to do is to apply slowly from 0 to 5 volt on both sides of the power supply input here in the floppy drive. I want to do this since the unit is off from very long time, so I don't want to give the full power after so long time. So what I've done here, I have reduced it to the minimum the current, which is about 11 milliampere, and voltage to 0. So power on, and slowly increase the voltage. As you can see, okay, let me move a little bit so you can see better, I hope. As you can see, the voltage is rising up, and now it has stopped it, probably because 11 milliamps is too low. So let me increase a bit, and yeah, okay, stop again, increase a bit the current. So what I want to avoid is the an eventual or one possible short circuit damage in such a way the board that cannot be repaired anymore. In this way I can see that if there is some leaky capacitor or some other components that is failing, and highlighting some short circuit. So far so good. So time to move on the other section. So bring down volts. Let me swap the alligators. Not easy with the camera. Okay, so let's do the same for the other side. Okay, here is better than the other. It's rising up to 5 volts without any problem. Actually right now I can't remember which side of this Molex plug is the plus 12 and the plus 5, so I just stop to 5 volts on both sides, and that's it. So the unit seems that electrically does not have particular issues, so I think we can have some fun trying to connect it to the computer that is right behind it. So let's see if I can make some weird setup in order to test it in a running condition. So let's go ahead. At this point I have moved the head all away from track 0. So I have connected the Molex plug. What I want to see if switching on the power supply, which will supply just the floppy drive and the hard disk, all the other components are disconnected. It should be recall the stepper motor to track 0 in order to let be the floppy drive in the homing position, let's say that. So let's see. Yes, that should be fine. So looks promising. For sure now I need to find a way to connect both floppy drive. Unfortunately it does not have enough Molex power supply plugs to supply additional drivers in this computer, so I would need a split, which I don't have in my hand in this moment of time. So let me switch off this noisy hard disk. Yes, I need to find a different way to supply this unit and set the BIOS for the B drive as a 5-inch floppy. So there is a bit of work to do to reach the final setting to test if this drive will work or not. This is the most insane and unsafe setup to make such a check. However, this is the only way that I can do it right now. So what I have done is I have connected the 5-inch floppy drive to this computer, which have a dead motherboard, and I have also connected the 3.5-inch floppy drive of the same unit, and the ribbon cable is going exactly to the floppy disk drive plug inside the Dolch motherboard. I already have set the BIOS for the 5.25-inch floppy drive as B drive, and if I go to my computer, let's open, I'm seeing both floppy drives, which is good. And if I open it, look at that, it's reading. That's fantastic. I have a bunch of very old floppy disks, mostly damaged, which I would like to save at least the maximum content that I can save, and I have already started to copy some of them just to test if the floppy was the floppy drive was working, and it worked. So it's quite good to see that all the effort used to clean and restore a bit the floppy has given the expected and hoped result. So this is a good step ahead. I think now I really need to fix the Dolch computer, since I'm having several additional issues that I have discovered meanwhile. Number one is the hard disk drive that during the seeking is making a very nasty noise, and I believe is the support of the head, perhaps the bearings of the heads that are a bit hard to turn, as all the other drives, disk drives were with the dried grease. So I suspect that I'm having similar problem on the hard disk drive, so I will try to fix it. Another problem is, of course, this monitor. I'm not sure that you can see, there are some darker area here, so the brightness control is at the maximum, so, and seems to change a very small amount. So perhaps I think there is a CFL tube that get the backlight on this screen. So this is another issue that I wish to fix. And another one that I have noted since a while, but I have not mentioned it yet. Here there are three small LED that should indicate caps lock or number lock over there, or scroll lock. Let me zoom in to see, right? None of them are working, so I really wish that removing the keyboard plug from the case should give me the chance to fix the problem, just simply cleaning the contacts in the plug, but that's not the case. So I think that for the moment I'm happy enough, because I have the 5¼ inch floppy drive working again. In the future I will prepare an external case and external connection in the Dolch computer in order to swap from the older media to the newer that I could. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Soon I will post the part 3 of this computer restoration slash bring back to 2020 needs.